What's up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in. I'm excited for this week's Friends with Jocelyn. Yeah, I guess we'll wait for some more people to log on. Hi, I don't know if this is the Mars that I know, but thanks for logging in. What's up? Denied. Just kidding. All right, let's do this. Oh, it is the Mars that I know?
Yo, can you hear me?
No, I can't.
Oh man.
I'm just kidding. I can hear you.
Yo, what is up?
How are you? How's your day?
It's going pretty good. It's been pretty interesting today, just like with the weather and a lot of stuff going on. But it's a good interesting. A lot of busy things going on with music and just soundtrack stuff and things like that. So I'm pretty excited actually for this upcoming year.
Yeah. I feel like it's gonna be hard not to have like a super long conversation with you because I feel like I could ask you so many questions. But
Yeah,
I'll
and,
try
and I
to
can
keep
talk
this
forever too.
I'll try to keep this short and sweet and meaningful. So let's start with how you got started at 2K. Tell us a
Yeah, I
bit about
mean,
that.
no, that's actually that's a really good question. I think a lot of people, when they ask me that question, they just assume like I went to college or, I went to like a school, like a trade school or something like that. But I was actually really fortunate to work, at 2K by applying as a tester. And like a tester basically is playing the games, 8 hours, sometimes 12 to 16 hours a day, trying to find all the issues in the game, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that for a while. I did that for about 3 years as a tester. So it was cool. I learned a lot about gaming, the business of gaming, met a lot of cool people. But as a tester, you really learn how to you kind of have to just really get busy and get to work and put all no excuses. You got to get your work done. And those are the
Right.
guys who usually last in the gaming industry, are the guys a lot of times who go through QA, quality assurance is what that's called.
Mm-hmm.
So.
So how'd you go from doing that to curating the soundtrack?
Man, that was kind of a long journey, but to make that short, basically what happened was I did testing for a little while. I was fortunate enough to get a position as a video editor, so I did that for a little bit as well. And it's probably about 5 years doing some video editing. Shout out to Kenny and the 2K video squad. Everybody there is legends. They do amazing work. But then eventually, I was like, look, I want to do other things. Like I love QA, I love video editing, but I also wanted to help on the marketing side of games. So I ended up switching over to the marketing team, and they were giving me an opportunity to kind of see how you do the marketing side of the game in Target and Best Buy
Mm-hmm.
and places like that.
That's
What
really
the
cool.
game, yeah, like what the game looks like on on shelves, and how to run promotions, what do promotions look like, how do you even get them prepared and started. So learned a lot there, and then eventually I was able to get involved in the music selection process for 2K14 and 2K15. So yeah, it was cool. Ever since then, I've been able to really just get involved in the selection of music, listening to new music. It's been a wild ride. But again, I just really appreciate the opportunities that 2K keeps throwing at me, and music is my first passion. So I'm always trying to make things happen there. So
Yeah. So
shout out to Jenny,
what's the
2K fan.
soundtrack what's the soundtrack curation process like? Like how do you go
Um,
about putting that soundtrack together?
yeah, so that's a really interesting process. It's actually, I mean, it all just really depends on that year. There's certain years where, there's music coming out. Like obviously, there's going to be music coming out every week, right? That's the most difficult part is keeping up with the new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But there's certain times of the year where just we know big albums are going to drop. So I kind of know that like through rumors or through like Instagram posts and the games that artists play, like, yo, I got an album dropping in like 6 months or whatever, and or they just say nothing and drop something last minute, things like that. So I always like know to look out around like springtime, because that's usually when people start talking about summer releases or putting out the song of the summer, right? You want to put something out just before summer.
Yeah.
I'm always keeping my ear out around that time frame. But then also I'm telling people to send me stuff via social media and email. And there'll be, certain musicians who will play me their album because they don't want to leak it in a studio somewhere. So I
Right.
compile all that music, and then I work with the rest of, there's a 2K licensing team, does an amazing job to get all the music licensed into the game, and the NBA to filter all the lyrics, to comb through everything, and then basically make sure everything is good enough for like a 9-year-old to listen to while playing a video game. And
Right.
and play and listen to hour after hour, when they're playing the game. So it's a pretty long process. I'd say it's a good like 6-7 month process, if not even 12 month, depending on the type of year it is. So
Yeah. So you really have to know like way ahead of time what music is going to be coming out.
yeah, I mean, like for me, I'm just such a weirdo that I'm like on blogs. I'm talking to A&Rs. I'm talking to artists. I'm talking to just a bunch of people. Like, yo, what's going on, bro? What you got? I haven't heard nothing from you in a minute. Like, you dropping anything around this time? And they're like, yo, bro, I got this amazing project, or I got this single, or
Yeah.
they're like, I have this song and I've been waiting to drop it. Maybe I should drop it with y'all through the game. Things like that. You know what I mean? So there's always something that's bubbling, but yeah, it's an interesting process, to say the least. Again, in a great way, in a good way. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's probably good for not just artists to reach out to you, but also A&Rs and executives and things like that who want to get their artists involved with
yeah,
video games
yep,
or other platforms. Yeah.
yep, yeah. I mean, it's and I do a lot of reaching out myself. Like that's one thing that I think I'm really good at is like if I see an artist and I'm like, yo, a lot of blogs are talking about this guy. I've never heard about him. Like Night Lavelle. I was just like, I've come across his music before, but like
Hmm.
people were talking about him on blogs, and I'm like, maybe I should just like know who this guy is. So I go listen to like 3 of his albums, the ones I could find on Spotify, a few things on SoundCloud, and then I like reach out to him. And I'm like, yo, bro, I'm just messing with your sound. I'm messing with what you're doing. Would you be interested in being a part of the 2K soundtrack? And then we kind of go from there, and they'll send me some submissions, and then we pretty much try to figure out if it fits for the game or not.
Yeah. Is there an artist too small to be on the soundtrack or no?
Nah, I mean that's the one thing. I think there's a lot of blogs and playlists who select music through, and this is no knock or diss to them, but through like monetary gains or through like interesting setups. But for
Hmm.
me, it's just if it sounds good and it fits the vibe, then I rock with it. Like that's who I am at the end of the day. If it like if I hear the song and like I vibe with that song, I'm like, yo, I really want to put this on the game. This artist is legit. Maybe I've even reached out and talked to them. They're a great person, and I want to work with them because they're a good person, and I feel like they deserve to like get that spotlight. So I
Yeah.
don't to answer your question, I don't think that there's any artist too small, and it's really just if it's a good song and the artist is dope, then I'm like, yo, let's make it happen. However we can, I'm gonna
Yeah.
try to make it happen.
Yeah. Do you ever get nervous when like the game comes out or the like soundtrack is released?
Oh
Like, do you
man,
feel like pressure of like, I hope they like the soundtrack?
yo, I'm not gonna lie, like that's probably the most like heart-wrenching night of sleep before the soundtrack like comes out, because I'm like, yo, people are either gonna hate this or they're gonna really like it. I don't know. Like it's really hard to sleep. It's really hard to like, and I know that like it's gonna,
It's like
and
you're
not
dropping
to,
an album.
yeah, for real. And it's like not to sound like kind of like I'm tooting my own horn or nothing, but like a lot of times I'm like, yo, I know it's gonna be dope. I know people are gonna
Yeah.
like it, but there's still that like feeling of, well, there could be like some songs they don't like, or that people might be asking, why do we have this specific artist? And to tell you the truth,
Hmm.
all that is true. Like all those things that I just said, that happens. They say, why do you guys have Lil Uzi Vert one year, or why do you guys have Grimes and things like that? So that's the
Hmm.
thing is like you have to, if you're doing anything on this scale, and even working your way up, you just have to realize that there's going to be a lot of people who vibe with you, and there's going to be a lot of people who don't vibe with you, and you just got
For
to
sure.
accept that and take it for what it is, and you know, just live with that. So it's just kind of like you said, like learning to live with that that stress and that the nerves before you drop an album or a single, or even when you're doing your festivals, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that applies to anybody that's creating anything and putting it
Yep.
out there.
Facts.
What's
Facts.
something that artists should keep in mind when sending you music to potentially be put on the soundtrack?
I would say just keep in mind that, you know, like this product is involved with the NBA, and the NBA is a very clean, you know, like corporate company, and they have a lot of reach. So for a new artist, it's a big deal to get involved with them. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, you have to realize that the NBA doesn't necessarily want to have the most like street music on there. They don't want to have the most you know, degrading songs involved with their products. So NBA 2K is, you know, a partner, a huge partner with the NBA. So again, you have to realize when you're sending me music, it's got to be fitting the vibe of the game. So something that's like upbeat and it's got a lot of energy to it. You can see an NBA player practicing to the song, but also the
Mm-hmm.
lyrics can't be super crazy. For instance, I always say this, but like that Fetty Wap song, "My Trap Queen." It's
Mm-hmm.
like that song is dope, right? And he's not necessarily saying anything specifically about like drugs, but that's what the song is about. It's about his girl at the house cooking up while he's out there in the street, right? And it's like, oh, this is a beautiful song. But at the same time, like the theme is still not really
Yeah.
acceptable for the NBA.
Yeah.
Because again, you got to realize like there's 9-year-old kids who are playing this game. So that's like part of the responsibility that you know that we have is like we definitely need to watch out what we're allowing these children to consume.
Yeah. Is
It's
2K
it's not the Momo challenge. I'll say that much.
is 2K rated E?
Yeah, 2K is rated E for
Okay.
everyone.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like that is a perfect example of like why artists, before reaching out to a brand, before reaching out to somebody, is like keeping in mind of the brand you're reaching out to. Does it align with you and your work? And like even studying like past soundtracks, you know, and seeing like what is accepted and what goes on there. I
Yeah,
feel
for
like would
sure.
be,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
do your research. Like I think that's anything. You know, I went to this workshop last night with a lot of entrepreneurs, and you know, they were just basically all talking about similar things about networking. But that's one thing that I try to express to people is like, look, if you're an artist and you're like, why aren't these brands paying attention to me? You might want to just go on your social media and just like take a look at what you got. I mean, you might be having fake prop, you know, like handguns and machine guns and stuff, and you know, it's all for fun and games and it's fun amongst your peers. But these
Mm-hmm.
brands will see that, like a Nike or an Adidas or all these brands that you know you may wear or you might mess with. They might see that and go, well, we don't know if that's real or fake. We don't know if you're really out here in the streets, so we can't associate ourselves with that. And I think that's just something to be aware of. Is like just make sure your social media is cleaned up. Just make sure what you're saying publicly is, you know, a little bit cleaned up, and you understand the message that you're sending out there. And
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll be fine. You know what I mean? And I mean, look at the Migos, right? The Migos was like they started off as like the trap kings, and then
Mm-hmm.
eventually they started cleaning up their act around 2015, 2016, and now every brand's messing with them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're doing every commercial under the sun with shoe company brands, food, things of that nature. So you know, I tip my hat to those guys because they understand the game and they understand the you know, the reach that they have and what their role is in this culture and community. So
For sure.
yeah, just use that as a lesson.
Yeah. Could you could you share an experience that you've had with like one of your artist collabs
Yeah,
for like a past soundtrack?
for sure. I'll say this. I mean, I've told you some that I probably can't say here, but you know, there's one that I thought was really interesting was Grimes. You know, she's a pop artist. She's been kind of quiet for a little while, but I think she's getting ready to drop music because she's been active on social media. She just dropped a single, I think, a few months ago. But I found her. We did a photo shoot and a film shoot with her, and I found just her personality. Like I didn't
Mm-hmm.
expect her to be really into like gaming and Dungeons and Dragons and like things like that and like anime. Like you know, she's really her art is really anime esque, but she's just
Mm-hmm.
so into that stuff to where like you know I'm having conversations with her and it just seemed like at some times she was standoffish because she didn't know if I was into the same stuff. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
look, I'm a fellow nerd too. I love anime. I love, so once we like got past that barrier, it was cool. But that kind of like that was like unexpected. I thought she was going to be a lot more just like flamboyant and like just talking about artists is like they just they have this character about them, but she was a lot more
Right.
reserved and quiet until she felt comfortable, and I thought that was really cool. I thought that was interesting. Like it just
Mm-hmm.
reminded me, I'm very similar, so it reminded me that like we're all humans at the end of the day.
For sure. How was the I have to ask, how was the
Yeah.
Travis Scott collaboration?
Oh, that was cool. That was cool. Yeah, he's a great dude. Like Travis Scott, I learned a lot about just music wise. Like again, I'm so big into his production. He works with like Mike Dean and Alan Ritter, a lot of these legendary engineers and music producers and writers. So I just kind of like asked him questions about his music, his production,
Mm-hmm.
and just like he's a big kid at the end of the day. He really loves what he does. He really loves
Mm-hmm.
gaming. He loves sports. Just helping set up that interaction between him and LeBron for our trailer was amazing. And he's just he's like seriously a cool dude. Like we were chopping up about shoes, video games, just like music, a bunch of stuff. So, he could be like a lot of the artists out there and just kind of big timey and not really talk to me, but he was actually really chill. Like I literally was kicking it with him for like a full day. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate him and his team for that. Shout out to David. Shout out to Busy. Travis. Like their whole squad was great. They're amazing.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you mentioned that his team actually reached out to you guys, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like Travis was like on it, man. He called us up and was like, "Yo, I got to do the soundtrack. Like I got to do this." And we're like, "All
Yeah.
right, cool. Like what are your ideas?" And he's like, "I want to sit courtside, at the Houston Rockets game." Or he wants his avatar in the game to be sitting courtside. And so we kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, we could do that, but like, let's think more bigger than that. So
Right.
we kind of built it to be a lot more than what it was. And, it was really cool. Again, he just is a huge gamer and a big kid at the end of the day. So he just really was nice. He was super courteous on every call. Sometimes we'd smack talk each other about who's nice in like real life at basketball. So, but it was cool.
Yeah.
Again, he's just like a really cool dude. So I appreciate that experience. I'll never forget that for the rest of my life. So
Yeah. Because I remember when you spoke at Complex Con, something that I really like that you talked about was encouraging artists to take the initiative to reach out to video
yep,
games.
yep. And video games and brands in general, like if you want to work for Nike, then just send an email to 10 people that you can find their email, whether it's on LinkedIn or Facebook or IG or whatever the case may be. I really do stress like just email them and just be like, look, this is, something I want to do for you guys. I'd love to get on a call and talk about it. Or try to schedule a meeting, like do a lunch meeting or something, some way to get these people that you want to work with alongside,
Yeah.
and just get them to explain about the business that they're doing and how things work, and really, like I said earlier, do the research on how you can get involved with that company, because at the end of the day, all these brands, they want to be cool, they want to be out here a part of culture. And the only way they can do that is be close to the creatives who are creating the real culture.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they're a lot more accessible than people think. It's just that people, I think, mentally kind of like shut themselves off, or they kind of take an L before they've even tried. You know what I'm
For
saying?
sure.
Gary Vee talks about it a lot. It's like, don't take an L before you've even tried. Just try it. And then if it doesn't work out, cool. Try it again somewhere else. So,
Right. For sure.
yeah.
What are your thoughts on
Yo, Gatson, I can hoop, bro. I got you one-on-one. I'll drop 20 on you any day, bro. Let's get it.
what are your thoughts on culture's relationship with video games or vice versa and vice versa?
Yeah, I think, it's always been there, man. I really think that video games has been a huge pastime for kids growing up in the inner city. I remember one of my earliest memories, like, I was kind of talking about this on the Complex panel too, but like just going to the corner store with my older cousins, just trying to be cool because, I'm just gonna be real, they had the coolest clothes, they were hanging out with all like their friends, and like they were just really cool to me. So I'm like, man, I want to go kick it with these guys. and we'd be playing Street Fighter, and whoever was the nicest at Street Fighter was like the guy. You know what I'm saying? So that was the thing. Like I really feel like gaming is not just a thing that people are doing to pass time, but it was also like a bragging rights thing. Like if you beat Final Fantasy VII, then you were kind of like the guy amongst your friends at that point in time because that game was so long and it was a legendary game. So I think that now people are sitting in their houses a little bit more, not trying to stay out of trouble, playing video games with their friends. If I'm an NBA player and I get injured, I can hit you up and then we can play some NBA2K online and really just like have some fun. I don't have to just be out here trying to go to clubs and get myself into possible trouble. I can avoid a lot of that by playing video games. And you're also just starting to see like games involving clothing companies and things of that nature. Obviously, with us NBA2K, we involved Fear of God, which was dope, and that was like a big thing. I think people were like, "Dang, you guys need to do more of this in the game." So I think you're going to just start seeing more of that. You're seeing other shooters who are involving streetwear brands. Like it's just kind of the thing now. So yeah, I think culture and gaming, it just goes hand in hand. I mean, it's not going anywhere. I think more rappers are going to be at the house playing video games, talking about who's the nicest, posting their scores on the internet, things of that nature. And now with these, battle royale games, like you're really starting to see everybody kind of get involved just with the access of it. It's so easy to just get the game and play it, so.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel I'm not much of a gamer, but even I feel like I've been seeing artists talk about gaming more and more, and it's like more apparent.
Yeah, like 2K, yo, let's play 2K. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll be like, "Oh, I'm nice in 2K," and then another guy that they're in a crew with will be like, "You're trash, bro. I'm about to come over and whoop you right now." You know what I mean? They'll be posting scores, and it's pretty funny. It's dope at the end of the day, but it's really, again, it's just like I wanna be around my homies. It's like a family thing almost. You know what I mean? Like I want to just all I want to kick it, play some games with my homies, and have some fun. And I think again, it's just one of those things that's not going nowhere.
Right. So I want to talk a little bit about stuff that you do outside of 2K, because I'm sure your followers also see you like posting beats on your stories.
I'm cooking, man. I'm working. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's again one thing that I'm super passionate about is music. I love the fact that again 2K gives me the opportunities to help out with the soundtrack and just like artist relationships, making sure that there's people out here like the ASAP mob and they all love 2K, making sure they have 2K, making sure if there's anything that they need, I got them, things like that. But I really love just like making music, not for anything else besides my own enjoyment. Like I can remember way back in the day, my dad used to have an ASR 10, so he would be sampling songs, and he would kind of show me how to sample, and then he'd show me like how to lay out a drum pattern and things like that. So, even at like an early age, I was like, yo, it just gave me a feeling inside that I can't really explain. And then I really tried to like get away from it for a while because I was like, I didn't like the way that the industry was going. And then eventually I got back into it, just like not even on purpose. I just got a drum kit because I just need to like get away from reality for a little while. And I really started like in 2012, I started making beats. And since then, it's just, again, it's one of those things where I sit down and I make a beat and I just like, the world doesn't matter. The world isn't there. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like I'm like part of the universe because I feel the energy of the music. You know what I mean? So I don't know, that might come off weird, but like, again, at the end of the day, that's why I do it, is really for my own enjoyment, because it makes me feel a type of way that like I can't get nowhere else. It's just, it's unexplainable when I make a song, So I just love music at the end of the day.
Yeah. Are you like seeking to collaborate with other artists?
Yeah. Like whoever, man. I'm making beats. Like I said, I'm trying to make 1 to 10 beats a day. Like whoever, if anybody's like, yo, I need beats. I know some people, I got this like backlog of emails I need to send beats to, but I'm definitely trying to send out as many as possible. I want to work with whoever. I can collab on a beat. I can make a beat, send it to you. Like however y'all want to do it, man, just let me know. I'm down to work. Even if you're like, yo, Mike, I'm making beats. Like, oh, okay, let's get it. Send me a beat. Let's make it happen. You know what I mean? With Jocelyn mixtape. You know what I'm saying? Numerology
Yeah,
7. Let's get
totally.
it. You know what I mean? Let's make it happen. So, nah, but
What program do you use to make beats?
I'm kind of like a weirdo. I'm on Native Instruments Machine. So a
Uh-huh.
lot of people are like, oh man, I use this, or I use Logic, or I use Pro Tools, yada, yada, yada. But like I use a Native Instruments Machine just because I've been on it so long and I can sit
Hmm.
down and I know how to use it. Like that's the most frustrating thing as a creative is when you have this like big idea and you want to get the idea out, but like there's all these like obstacles that is
For
stopping you
sure.
from, it's like if you had to use Google Docs, but you had to put in this password and then you had to like, scan your eyeball and then you had to do a handprint. You're like, bro, I just want to write down this idea real quick. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah. It's
So
a process.
yeah. So for me, I use Native Instruments because I can just turn it on. I already know how to put a sample in there. I already know how to create a sample. I already know how to do a drum pattern. Like it's just easy. So I just get it.
Who would you say are your biggest influences, beats wise, sounds
Uh,
wise?
DJ Premier. Man. I remember being a kid. I was like 9 years old, and my dad was playing, just like the Guru DJ Premier tapes, and like Gangstar and Nas, and like so. I grew up on some real hip hop, boom bap stuff. And
Hmm.
then I discovered Jay Dilla after that. So like Jay Dilla for real, because he would make
Hmm.
beats that like you would feel them. You know what I'm saying? Like
For
Premier
sure.
would make beats that you're like, man, these samples is crazy. And
Hmm.
Jay Dilla, like you felt the soul in his music, like you felt that soul. So I like, again, I really was inspired by him. And then Metro Boomin, because in the more recent years, I remember seeing when he first popped off back in like 2016, I think 2015. He had this like Razor video where he was talking about how he taught himself how to make beats, and I was like, "Word! If he can do this, I can for sure do this." So it just
Yeah.
inspired me. Like, so I'll forever respect Metro for just that whole process of teaching himself, and he created a sound. So shout out to Metro, DJ Premier, shout out to J Dilla family.
Dilla.
Yeah, man, like really some legends right there.
Yeah. So what are your goals? Like where are you trying to take your beats or anything else that
Yeah, from here on out. I mean,
yeah.
honestly, at the end of the day, I want to be able to make beats for anybody, anywhere. I want to be able to. I feel like I have a good ear, so I want to be able to like help produce albums. I want to be able to help people like market the albums. And really, it's just like I get a lot out of if somebody's like, "Yo, I want to get this track done. I need
Hmm.
this beat from this person, or I want to get this feature." Like I get a lot of satisfaction from helping people make that connection. Even if again, I don't do any of this for money. I do this all because I just want great music. Like I want to
Yeah.
hear these collabs that people are trying to get done behind the scenes. And a lot of times we forget that there's all these politics that's going on and all these little things that kind of hold that up. So I really
Hmm.
just like being a dot connector at the end of the day, but like I do want to be able to have beats to go to anybody. It don't matter who. I want it to anybody can be like, "Yo, Mike, I need your beats." Like that would be fire. And just a bunch of other little things that I could talk about for days. But yeah, I mean those would be the main things. 10 years from now, I want to be able to be making beats for the hottest new artists, just because they're the homie. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Well, dang. I think
yeah,
this is like a good place to stop the
you know what I mean? Let's
conversation.
get it, man. Yo, we
Do
killed
you,
it. You know what I'm saying? Straight
is there
up.
anything you want to add? Or
Yeah,
you
I
feel
just want to
good?
say, man, like, this is not like to anybody specifically. This is just to the world. I want to put this energy out there. Like, if you have a dream, kind of what we were saying earlier about reaching out to brands, like, if you have a dream, you want to work with Nike, you want to make beats, you want to, I don't know, mow people's like 2 Chainz lawn. I don't know. I don't know. People have crazy dreams, but if you have a dream, just like try to really work at making that happen. Like you're gonna have a lot of these obstacles. You're gonna have like if you have a
Hmm.
day job, people kind of trying to get in your way and like kind of trying to cut you from doing what you're trying to get done. Or like there's gonna be things going on in your personal life to where you're gonna feel like I don't even want to be creative. But at the end of the
Hmm.
day, just be creative. Like 30 minutes out of the day if you can, and just work, man. Just work. That's the only thing I can say, and it will happen. I promise you. Like I'm seeing so many things moving at a snail's pace, but they're moving. Just
Hmm.
because I'm just trying to make them happen. Like don't let nothing stop you. Sleep, other people, nothing, man. Like the energy out there is real. Like you put that energy out there, and it'll happen. So
For
Yeah,
sure.
man, just keep working. That's all I can say.
Preach.
Nah, I'm just being real. Yo, I'm just being real. Just another guy saying the same thing, you know. So that's it, man. I appreciate the opportunity to be on your, your channel out here, dropping some facts as these guys are saying. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Gatson, I'll give you 20. Antonio, you'll get whooped in any game, Street Fighter, whatever, 2K, whatever. You let me know. Dexter was good, my guy. Was good. Shout out to the 2K family. Just everybody who tuned in, man. I love y'all, man. I
For
appreciate
sure.
you.
Yeah, this will be on YouTube too. So
Let's
if
go.
anyone
Let's
missed
go.
it, they can catch
YouTube
it.
family, you already know. Comments. Just roast me. I don't care. You already know what it is.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you sharing your insight.
No problem. I appreciate you too.
Okay, we'll talk soon.
Peace. Yep. Peace.